And welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Prince Rupert on the intercoastal intercoastal waterway on our way from Washington State up to Anchorage, Alaska, and we're here in the Grumman Albatross. So we just started engines, as you can see there, just a little while ago, and we've got everybody set up in here, including the Garmin. And as you can see here on the map, you zoom in for those of you watching on a mobile device. It's roughly, technically it's 78 nautical miles, and we're going to be flying as low as we can, so you can observe the beautiful scenery down below. But anyway, our destination, if you're wondering where we're going, I guess that would be a good bit of information for you if you want to know where the destination is. This is the Before I give you the name of the destination, this is a video that a member over on here at the Patreon account, they said they recommended that I do a flight that I don't charge anything for it. And I said, that's a good idea. It'll give everybody out there in YouTube land a good idea as to how these things work with regard to a large amphibious aircraft. And there isn't a lot of video that, to the best of my research, with regard to videos that really showcase an amphibious aircraft from going from A to B on an actual trip. So as you can see here, we're going up to, it just gives us a runway, unfortunately, for some odd reason. It isn't showing the identification for the airport that we are going to. We are going into Papa Kilo Tango November PKTN, which is Ketchikan Bay. And I've already looked at the METAR, which is weather, the weather report for Ketchikan. And visibility might be a little low. I do know the ceiling is broken at about 3,000. So the fun thing is, and you'll be, once we get up into the air and get to cruise, I'll zoom in on the map and I'll show you what kind of a procedure we have to do, because the winds up there are, like I said, if I didn't say it right, I'll say it again. The winds up there are out of the southeast. So we got to do a really unique maneuver going around basically a mountain and then entering a pass in the opposite direction, and then come in and Ketchikan. For those of you that have never been to Alaska, number one, I highly recommend it. But anyway, going into Ketchikan, the Ketchikan airport, they have a designated water runway right next to the airport with a very, very nice takeout. So for those of us flying amphibious aircraft, and we need to get on to the airport. Number one in our case, to clear customs, get the flaps out there. It has a very, very nice wide ramp. I want to say boat ramp, like for a boat launch, but for aircraft ramp. And believe it or not, it is big enough for the Albatross, and this is an airplane that I have never flown before, for anyone wanting to see it on YouTube. And again, and this one, by the way, like always, on this little adventure on our way, as we make our way step by step up to Anchorage, Alaska, this is the aircraft that a certain patron requested. So we're going to do that. Let me set up our radio altimeter here, put the minimums in already. just for departure as well as arrival. So amphibious airplanes, you want to do a few things differently that you don't do with others. It's not good. I might change that. But anyway, that is our route. Let's go ahead and release the parking brakes. And begin to roll. And the only thing we have yet to do is simply turn on the strobes and the landing lights once we got to the runway, and we'll be good to go. Let's double check one thing, and that is our trim. For those of you not knowing where the trim is, don't worry, it took me forever to find it myself. It's down here under the primary Grumman nav map. So you look on the left, see that little switch that says nose down, nose up, and on the left it says elevator trim. We're going to pull that back. We're going to see what 2.5 degrees. Whoa. Let's leave it right there, just shy of 3. The one thing I do know, having flown this I think I've flown this airplane maybe, I don't know, 3 times now. And I do notice that it does need trim, a significant amount of trim. Once you get the flaps up, the nose really wants to take a nosedive, even though the weight is behind us. But anyway, let's get rolling, and we'll talk more once we get in the Wild Blue Yonder here. It takes a little bit of power to get her going here, to get rolling. Quite a bit, actually. The RPM on your props, and keep in mind these are constant speed props. It takes a while you gotta get those RPMs up into the green arc first, and then it begins to roll, and then you can bring it back. But you can see right there, as soon as I brought him back, that nose, even though the taxiway is a little bumpy, it really wants to perform. So, stop right here. And you do have to mash down on the brakes. It's not easy to stop. Alright, let's do a couple things like set strobes and landing lights. And we're going to extend those lights out. I give it 3 seconds on each switch here. Let's see if we got them up and running here. We do. Very good. Let's get it rolling here. All right. And you can see the windsock. It's blowing out there. So we should be able to get airborne just a little quicker than normal. Prince Rupert traffic. Albatross 196 Alpha Juliet, departing runway 13, Prince Rupert traffic. I don't know why I just did that, because there isn't any air traffic on this particular flight. I have it all disabled. And unlike the flight I did last night, which I encourage all of you to go watch for free over on the YouTube channel, citation longitude from Grand Bahama Island on up to Washington, D.C., Reagan National Airport. where I was on VATSIM, VATSIM, VATSIM. For those of you not familiar with it, I'll put that in the description below. But anyway, alright, engines are nice and warmed up by now. Looks like. Take one look at the temps. Cylinder temps are a little low yet. Now, if I was flying with traffic, either the AI traffic that Flight Sim 2024 downloads from FlightAware, or if I was on VATSIM, obviously I would not be doing this on the runway. Alright, so warming up a little bit more. For those of you with a mobile device, this is what I'm looking at right here in the middle. Sorry, I say cylinder. Sorry, carburetor. Cylinder temps are right up here. Alright. Everything is warm enough. I got plenty of fuel. More than enough fuel. This Albatross is the long-range VIP version. So anyway, here we go. A little more. Alright, bring those props back a little bit. There we go. There's V1. And rotate right about there. There we go. Just as soon as I get the gear up. Gear's on the way. It looks like we're gonna have to fly pretty low to stay out of the soup, as they say in bush pilot lingo. Okay, flaps up, and you're gonna see what I mean when I say the nose drops when I retract the flaps. Yep, that nose begins to drop immediately. But it didn't begin to drop all that much, because I add over 3 units, I should say 3 degrees of trim already dialed in. So let's see outside real quick. Alright, so as soon as we get north, I should say as soon as we get facing north, then we'll begin to trim out the engines, get the RPMs to where they need to be, get the airplane leveled off, so we can really appreciate the beautiful landscape down below. Alright. Here we go. There's the airport right there. Alright. Looking good. Alright, let's see where we are. Pardon me. Get a throat lozenge here in just a second. Let's see where we are. Okay. As soon as we get north of the island here, then we'll go a little more to the north and pick up that course needle. Let's see what's going on outside again. Let's see here. not the button that I wanted to hit. Alright, looks like 4,000-ish is going to be this sweet spot with regard to scenery. Intercepting our course needle. We'll pick it up here in just a bit. Let's trim it off. The trim is very, very sensitive for whatever reason, the way they designed it here. When I say they, I mean Microsoft and Asobo. You just give your trim switch on your yoke just a little bit of input, and all of a sudden the trim really, really overreacts with this aircraft. But let's go ahead and turn on the autopilot. Yaw damper comes on. Nav, flight director. Make sure everybody's good to go. Alright, and autopilot. See if it handles it like it should. And we want our 4,000 feet is what we want to be at. So let's go ahead and dial that down to 4. There we go. And let's go vertical speed on that. And nose down. It did not capture the course needle. So, alright, here's what we're gonna do. Let's go to heading mode here. And it doesn't want to go down, which is bizarre. There we go, finally pitching down. Yeah, the trim is almost maxed out. Yeah, that's the other issue that this aircraft does have. If you look at the other videos I did, those are now for free, by the way, on YouTube. With regard to this adventure going from Washington State up to Anchorage, Alaska, you'll see I mentioned this aircraft a little bit because we were going to use it for this flight. And I topped off, I didn't top it off, I put maybe, 75% fuel on board. And it just would not trim out. So on this flight we have a little less than 50% capacity of fuel on board. And the autopilot is reacting very sluggish. With a full load of fuel, this thing is simply out of control with the autopilot. I mean, just totally out of control. So let's make the heading a little more, pardon me. There we go. There we go. All right. Pardon me. Now we should be able to load the navigation. And there we go. Now I picked it up. Now we're on our way to Ketchikan Bay. 4,000 feet. And 3021, I already dialed in the altimeter for Prince Rupert Airport. Ketchikan. Let's go ahead because this flight really isn't going to be all that long. As you can see on the main map here, it's pretty short. Let me let me let me tweak the engine settings just a little bit. You zoom in, you guys can see what I'm doing while I'm watching the airspeed. Alright, we're gonna push the manifold pressure up just a little more because we believe it or not, we can fly faster than this. Yeah, I'll get into why I didn't open up the cowl flaps or the oil cooling doors. I'll get to that in just a minute. Alright, we're gonna bring the props back. Increase the engine here. Give us a little more. There we go, look at that airspeed. There we go. Now we're talking. And I'm going to push the RPMs on the props just a tiny bit now. Let me explain the way the prop controls will work in this aircraft. Looks like I might have given it too much power. We're at 184, 185, 186. And look at that, the Grumman unit is already beginning to measure us in Mach number as well. Alright, that looks like we got the proverbial sweet spot. Alright. As you can see, we do not have in this version of the Grumman Albatross, which again, this is the VIP long range, which also means that which also means that the avionics and the systems have been upgraded significantly. Anyway, you'll notice that we have throttles, we have mixture. However, where are the two big levers with the blue handles to control the prop? The prop pitch, because they're constant speed props. Well, when they converted it over to this configuration with a semi-glass cockpit, they got rid of the prop levers altogether, and then what they did is they implemented the two switches. You know, what's interesting is that the two switches are in a blue, kind of like a blue recessed upside down box right up here. That's the one for the right engine, and that's the indicator light for the right prop. And this is for the left prop, and there's the indicator for it. So when I move my prop control on my throttle quadrant here in the office, here's what we get. They don't even move, even though that is what they are. So you gotta look at your gauge. And as you can see, we're at 20, just shy of, well, to be fair, the needles are dancing around a little bit because of the the vibration, of course. But kind of interesting that all the other needles, they're not vibrating at all. They should be, but they're not. It's something else that Microsoft Asobo, something else that they need to fix. But anyway, as you can see, we're looking right at 2450. between 2,450 RPMs on each engine. And the left engine is running just a little faster than number 2 and than the right engine. So our torque pressure is good, cylinder temp is good, carburetor temp, and that brings, it looks good by the way, that brings me around to why didn't I utilize the these right here, calf flaps and the oil coolers. Well, with 51 degrees Fahrenheit back there on the ground, it's 43 degrees Fahrenheit up here. Simply wasn't necessary. So, gonna leave it at that. And now we're flying in a little bit of rain. It's 43 degrees Fahrenheit. So we don't need to be concerned about any icing. If we did have icing, which I have had, right here is where we go. This is the prop de-ice right there. Now the pitot heat, that's on regardless. That was one minor thing that I didn't do on the checklist, so my apologies on that. But anyway, my point is, the only other de-ice that we have is this right here, and that's for the prop, both props. Let's look out the window here. So now what is different with this aircraft with regard to the floats? Those floats, let's look at this little switch up here on the overhead. Those floats have to do with fuel. So that's how much fuel this thing can really carry. If we wanted to utilize more fuel, we could access the drop tanks, or we could access the float tank. So we've got the fuel tanks in the wings, and let's look back outside that window, and then we'll begin to just focus on the scenery. We've got fuel in those, what looks like a drop tank. Technically, that's what it really is. We've got gas in those floats out there. So, anyway, let's enjoy the scenery. It's a very short flight. Alright. Sit back and enjoy the sound of the engines and the view. Alright. Let's go back to work. And let's see if we need to dodge. if we need to dodge any mountains here. And the answer to that question is a big, big, big yes. So let's look at our map here, as well as a synthetic vision on the PFD. And let's look at what we gotta do. Alright. In theory, we should go left just a little bit. Alright. Let's see here. If we go left, what happens if we go right? We're definitely picking up some thermals coming off the mountain range there. As of now, we're all right. Do I like it? Not really. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do. According to the weather, if we go up, yeah, I don't like what we're looking at here. That's a little low. Alright. I should say we are a little low. Alright. Let's go up. Whoa, it wants to go up anyway. Let's go up to 5. Let's make it 6. Let's go up to 6,000. Speed. And nose. We're going to be flying in air that is just a little thin. I should say thinner. And technically, the book on the POH, the pilot manual, technically calls for the supercharger not to be turned on until you've reached 10,000 feet or above. But I'm going to turn it on just briefly just to see what it does here. If it does anything at all. See, the manifold pressure spiked. Let's see if that was the reason for that. Yep, it was. But the question is, do we need it? No. We're at 5,200, climbing 6,000. And we do not need it. And as you can see, the autopilot, it's attempting to do 1,000 feet a minute. And according to the weather report, we should have broken out of all this soup We should have broken out of this stuff um, about 1,600 feet ago. They said that the tops were 4,000, and they're obviously not. So let's see how well it captures 6,000. Might as well look at the instrument panel because there's nothing to see out here. Unfortunately, that weather report was way off. We shouldn't be too far away from getting out of it though. We got so much sunlight coming in directly here. All right, well, we're flying directly over the airport as we speak. Not the airport that we're going to, but another one. Let's see where we are here. What airport is that? That's the other thing. Sometimes... No, that is the airport. Yeah, okay. Alright, so you can see what we gotta do. So we're gonna go ahead and begin our descent. As I said, short flight. Let's bring it way down. Oh, 2,000 feet. The mountain that I was intending to fly around is the one you can't see, but it's right off to our left. And then we come in and then do a water landing. Alright. Let's begin that descent now. Nose down, vertical speed initiated. And we're going to go down to... Let's bring those engines way back. If we don't begin to slow it up, which we're not, okay, we're going to bring the props back a little bit. There we go. There we go. Let's take it all the way down to, all the way down to 500. Yeah, we're good. 500 feet. There we go. 500 feet. Alright, let's initiate the turn to our left. And then after this, I'll begin to hand fly it because we're going to be doing an interesting maneuver after we do this here. Let's go to heading mode. There we go. Let's see how good of a turn this thing can do. Let's bring those engines all the way back. Alright, let's get the altimeter for Ketchikan. Let's get that right up here. Three 022. Oh wow, taking over right now. It didn't level off at 500, did it? Hmm. Like I said, there's something wrong with this aircraft's autopilot altogether. I'll just fly it manually, that's fine. Something is very, very wrong with this airplane. Okay, let's kick the and it doesn't want to trim out easily whatsoever. Not in the least. It's just it's all over the place. All over the place. All right. Let's look at our map here. Yep. Okay, I see it. Alright, so I think from here on out, we're just going to stick to flying. Maybe I ought to make an executive decision right here, right now. Maybe we should just stick to flying the Dornier Sea Star. At least that aircraft works the way that it should. This one obviously does not. And I tried flying the Grumman Goose, and um, it doesn't even have an autopilot. It just has the bare minimums, which is fine. But when you're doing flights that are greater than 100 nautical miles, which from here on out they will be, it's kind of nice to have an autopilot. Alright, let's initiate something here. Let's go direct. I can begin to see a little bit out the window. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. Let's get rid of the flight director and the yaw damper. Not that this aircraft yaw damper does much for you. It does have rudder boost, which I obviously do have turned on. Oh, I hate it when it does that. I do have auto boost turned on, but you would never know it. You'd never know it. And when we departed, just before departing Prince Rupert, it said that the visibility was 10 statute miles up here in Ketchikan at the airport. 10 statute mile visibility with a ceiling of 3,500. That weather report could not have been more wrong. Alright, you can see the Vosy lights for the actual runway. Alright, I got a visual. Let's go ahead and slow it up. Flaps 1, please. And I would love to show everybody the exterior view of it landing, but with the visibility being what it is, I kinda gotta keep my eyeballs inside the flight deck here. There goes our minimums, right there. Landing. Let's get those flaps all the way out now. Gear up landing, that is correct. See, the ramp is right over there, and we don't want to taxi in the water for too long. See how we look out here. Looking very good. Alright. Yeah, there's something with the scenery is off just a little bit. The water should not be uphill, and it was acting as if we were on the side of a hill, and that is not even close to reality. Water, water does not exist on a hillside. Alright, flaps all the way up. Alright, now the ramp is, see if I can zoom in and find it here. Let's see, with this low visibility it's hard to see the ramp. Yeah, there's one there, and there's one over. I know there's one. The main ramp is behind and as you can see, it just doesn't taxi well in the water whatsoever. We can throw the reverse thrust on. Technically, it's reverse prop. The pitch of the props reverse. But anyway, let's see. Let's go ahead and put the landing gear down. Something tells me that we're gonna pop up like a popsicle as soon as we get on the gear. That's what I thought. Yep. Okay, I guess we're on land, even though we should still be in the water. That's interesting. Okay, a little bit of reverse. Alright. Where to go, right? I mean, the ramp is supposed to be right here. Alright, let's see what happens if we taxi to the left just a little bit. I know the actual ramp is it's supposed to be right over here. So let's, yeah, see, it's pitching back and forth as if we're on the water, yet it doesn't want to allow us to taxi with the gear up. So let's go out here just a bit. And this is something that they definitely need to fix. In the sim, we're going up and over things that don't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, there's a ramp right over there. Okay, that's the one we want. Huh, that's not a ramp, even though according to the map, Microsoft's map there on the EFB, it says there's a water ramp there, but I didn't see one. This is the one that I do know about. Is it still there? Yeah, it is. Okay, so they didn't model it, they implemented it on the EFB, but they did not model it in the actual scenery, which is a big, big bummer. Alright. And if I did not have landing gear down, this airplane would not turn left or right while in the water going this speed. It would just remain. It would do one of two things. It would either go straight, or it would just begin to drift left or right. So that's the reason for the landing gear being down, even though in reality we wouldn't put it down until we got near the ramp. So we're going to pop up like a jack-in-the-box here in just a couple minutes. I'm sorry, a couple of moments. So we'll get lined up with that ramp there. And it doesn't want to turn at all. Boy, it does not want to turn. There we go. Had to use a little bit of reverse. Come on. There we go. Come on. As soon as we get out of the water, I'll show you where that rudder boost switch is. Alright, now it's acting like we're on concrete. Feels like it. Alright. There we go. Now we can say welcome to Ketchikan Bay Airport. International Airport. Alright, thank you for driving by us like that. I don't know where he. It almost looked like a Mini Cooper from the movie The Italian Job. Yeah, it needs a lot of power to get going again. Alright. Because in our case, we would have to park at a designated spot, wait on the airplane for customs officials to come out and check us out, look at our passports, all that good stuff. So, we've got a corporate jet at a gate, which is usually reserved for Alaska Airlines because corporate jets don't use gates, but whatever. Alright. Where should we park? Where should we park? Let's see, that ramp agent, I don't think they know that we're here. Let's just park it right here, behind that beach. KR B200. It looks like a B200. I'm sorry, it looks like a C90. Alright, set the parking brakes. Brakes are set. And it's raining like they said it would not, but welcome to Alaska. Alright, strobe lights coming off, landing lights off, retract, both landing lights. And they're both up. The reason I check is because sometimes you off. Sometimes they're not. You gotta hold on the switch and then they finally retract all the way into the wing. So right now the yacht amp with the flight director. Oh, the rudder boost, even though it doesn't do anything, is right here. So since we're going to be shutting everything down, rudder boost off. So that right there, that round knob is your rudder boost. Okay. And I'll show you where everything is as I shut it down. Alright, let's make sure everything else is off. We'll leave the beacon light on until we cut off the power of the engines here. Alright. Just go ahead and turn both of them off. Let's see, we zoom in just a little bit for you. And we'll turn both of them off at the same time. Alright, both engines are off. And we'll turn off our beacon and the nav lights. Inverters are still on. Alright. The avionics switch, if you're wanting to know where in the world do I turn on the avionics, well, it's a switch that's kind of hidden. And it's above the FO's head. And it's way over here. I forget what it's even labeled. Radio master switch. Okay, well. technically it does a lot more than just give power to the radios. It gives power to everything. But that goes off. Fuel pumps are off, and the other one is off. And yeah, those switches don't do anything for you. Gust lock. I would like to turn the gust lock on, but the gust lock doesn't work. So you just gotta make sure that well, not another way to say, you just gotta make sure and cross your fingers and really, really hope that the parking brake is going to do the job. Along with when they put the chocks out there, then you turn the parking brakes off. But alright, we're going to turn the master. Let's see, is that on or off? Generators are both off. And battery, let's just go turn off the inverter. And the only thing to go is the master battery switch is right here. And off. Alright, let's go out via the passenger door in the aft left. Remind me the next time I fly this aircraft, after they fix it, remind me to explain to you guys how the cabin air system actually works, along with the temperature setting. It's not modeled at all, but hopefully when they update this thing again, it will be modeled. So let's just go out. As you can see, very nice accommodations for a amphibious aircraft. Nice little galley. Alright. Let's utilize this hatch to our right. And the bottom one unlocks. Alright. Oh, the door is closed already. Huh, okay. Well, hope you had somewhat of an enjoyable flight from Prince Rupert up here to Ketchikan Bay. And this is your typical Alaskan day, and temps in the upper 50s and low visibility, and the weather forecast was completely different from what was forecasted even before just before I began to film. So well, like I said though, welcome to Alaska. That's what you get. When you're in Alaska, you never know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So, anyway, I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions whatsoever, drop those in the comments box below. And if you enjoy the video, we would really, really appreciate it if you guys could smash the thumbs up button and subscribe. We do a lot more than just these kind of flights. We do flights in, I think we're probably one of the most diverse channels on YouTube with regard to flight simulation. And we do flights with DCS World, and we also do airline flights, and we do well, you can just look around the channel and you can see what kind of videos we've done, and you can see how diverse we really are. So that being said, thank you again. I hope you got something out of it. And as I always say, frequency change approved, and take care, fly safe.